Well, hello and welcome along to Macedonia Park in Berkeley for a clash in round 6 of the National Premier League's men's New South Wales. Wollongong Wolves hosting Western Sydney Wanderers. Both of these teams have struggled for wins in the opening 5 matches this campaign. However, 3 points here could be the early boost they need to kick into gear in 2025. My name is Tim Gibson. Let's get into the lineups. Oliver Yates starts in goals for Wollongong Wolves, and Harrison Busnell is number 2. 4, Dylan Ryan. 5, Banri Kanaizumi. 6 is James Anagnostopoulos. 7, Woon Subsim. 21, Nicholas Olsen. 24, Lachlan Scott. 25, Alex Masciavecchio. 29, Ben Geisen. And number 77, Raphael Liai. For Western Sydney now, and Tristan Vidakovic starts in goal. Number 5 is Lachlan Tilt. 8, Nicholas Badalato. 9, Alat Abdul Rahman. 10, Luka Knezovic. 18, Awan Lual. 22 is Jesse Cameron. 26, Anthony Barbic. 27 is Julian Kopp. 34 is Meliwethu Nkomu. And 39 is Cade Bacchus. The referee today is Kelly Jones. Assistant referee number 1 is Matt Staples, and on the far side, or the near side from where the camera is Lachlan Brownscombe, and Harriet G is the 4th official. Now, as I was arriving here today in the car, it was giving me readings of 40 degrees outside, but it's cooled down a little bit here. There's a nice breeze over in Berkeley, which I'm sure the players will appreciate, because, well, 20 odd minutes ago it was looking like it was going to be a very hot one, but that temperature's cooled down a little bit, which should be conducive to some good football here. Wollongong Wolves and the Wanderers, in fact, both seeking their 2nd win of the season so far, as we'll see the Western Sydney Wanderers kick us off. And we're underway here, the Wanderers with an aggressive kickoff, pushing a number of players forwards and then immediately looking back. Here's Nicholas Badalotto back to Tristan Vidakovic, who's been one of the informed keepers of the competition so far. As we see the ball go long, Dylan Ryan deals with that. Here's Cade Bacchus coming through midfield and clips a nice ball out to this right-hand side for Jesse Cameron. Busnell clears that away, and it with a chance of a break, and here comes Nicholas Olsen through the middle and finds Alex Masciavecchio. Here's an early chance, and it's a composed finish from the winger. The Wolves lead within the first couple of minutes here. Masciavecchio has now scored in his last 3 games for Wollongong, and it was a breakaway really out of nothing. It looked to have been dealt with initially, but the ricochet fell back to Olsen, and he took up the space and found a nice pass out to Masciavecchio, and the Wolves have got a dream start here. I think it was an early goal as well for Masciavecchio against Rockdale last week, so a similar start for him, and he's certainly in form now for the Wolves. Again, the Wanderers push forward straight through the middle. Knocked up. Good header from Lachlan Tilt, and they can press forward again here through Julian Kopp, who will hit a shot that's spilt by Yates, but cleared away by Kanaizumi. an interesting first few minutes to the game here. The Wanderers perhaps holding most of the territory, but the Wolves with that early breakaway and a loose touch will give the Wolves a chance to push forwards. Here's Lachlan Scott, a former Western Sydney Wanderer himself. Dylan Ryan pushing on from left back. We'll find Raphael Liai. Here's Anagnostopoulos. Interesting to see Ben Geisen slotted in at right back. He's been playing in more of a freer role in midfield in previous games, but the Wolves have got a couple of injuries at the moment. No Darcy Madden, who's picked up some form of injury. Sebastian Hernandez also out, a major attacking threat down the right-hand side, but here's another chance now, and it'll be a corner for the Wanderers, the first of the game. A New Look Wanderers team, they had probably what was their best performance so far this season against Spirit last weekend, where they were ultimately outscored in the end, but there was some good play in there and some promising signs which they'll look to build on, but not the best start here. Badaloto looks to clip that ball in, and Yates comes to punch it away, and offside. So now in midfield and pushed out to this left-hand side with Nkomo. And it's a ball in that's missed everybody. Will be a free kick to the Wolves. Ken Izumi down. But as I was mentioning with the Wanderers, it's been a difficult start to the year. They did pick up that one win, but other than that there have been some rather tough results to take, most recently that Spirit game. But apart from conceding the goal, they've looked quite good here early on. Scott does well to hold on to that. Mascivecchio will sprint after this and will win his side a corner. Sub-Sim will play a short one to find Mascivecchio. Back in from the midfielder. Here's Raphael Liai. One more. Here's Nick Olsen in a good position to shoot. Flashed wide, of course. Bagged a goal here against St George City from a similar distance in that game that was played across, well, 2 different days due to the lightning at Wynn Stadium in the original game, and then later on finished here. This corner looks like it's going to go into the box directly. Cleared away just out of Lual's reach, and Nick Olsen will pick it up. Ken Izumi finds Liai, and he's got a bit of space that he can drive into. Finds Olsen. Back for Liai. The Wolves doing a lot of hold on to possession here, and rather than give it away initially. In saying that, they've just lobbed it straight back to the Wanderers' defence. Wanderers looking to use this right-hand side, and Ken Izumi cuts that out well. Busenel, and was looking to knock that back to his goalkeeper, but has ended up conceding another corner. Richie Cardoso's taken over as the head coach. Andrew Christensen, I think, was involved over the last couple of years, but he's stepped up now and he's improving this team so far. Cardoso, of course, the results haven't been going their way on the whole, but they did win that game 1-0 against Sydney Olympic, which was a good result against an Olympic team that we know has plenty of talent, even though they may still be trying to find their feet over the last few years. Here's Lachlan Scott for the Wolves. Cade Bacchus getting a few touches. Anthony Barbic is looking to try and play a few incisive balls through the lines, but that one's been well overhit. Wanderers continuing to get a bit of the ball in some decent positions. Still waiting for that first major chance of the game. That early concession of a goal was rather against the run of play in terms of who's had possession and territory. Lachlan Tilt looking to play a ball forwards. Here's Jesse Cameron. Tilt on the ball now. The Wolves holding off a more deliberate press and being patient. And a few times that's left the Wanderers looking to try and shovel long balls forward, and that's a great ball from Dylan Ryan as Masciavecchio gets after it. Knocked back to Vidakovic, and Tilt will keep the ball moving. Here's Jesse Cameron. Here's Awan Lual, an important intervention there, and here's a chance for Nkomo down this left-hand side. It's dropped at Lual's feet, knocked back for Badalotto. It was a powerful hit, but straight at Oliver Yates. But again, some good play from the Wanderers. Nkomo's been in some good form, as we see again the Wolves pick up a little bit of space in midfield in transition. Here's Lachlan Scott, who will leave it for Masciavecchio. Olsen's free at the back post. That's a clever ball played through for Liai. Bit of readjustment there between Liai and Scott. They couldn't work out who was taking that, and it's a weak ball in from Scott in the end. Knocked forwards towards Lual, who will get onto this, and Agnostopoulos is chasing him down. Kanaizumi does well to shepherd that out. Here's Geisen Scott. Clever ball. Here's Liai. Can use his pace in behind. Standing off in the Wanderers. He may think about it. Well, he certainly has the quality to score from that distance. That one was a little too close to Vidakovic, but it was a simple couple of passes from the Wolves that got Liai into that position. Here we go down this left-hand side for the Wanderers. Julian Kopp finds it inside for Cade Backers. It's a neat one too, but Busnell has dealt with that well, and Scott might be gone here. And he's still going. It's play on. Here's Lachlan Scott. Olsen trying to offer support. Here's Scott. And it's some desperate defending at the back there from Jesse Cameron, who did really well to get back into position. And in the end for Scott, it was on his weaker side, that left foot. A good save from Vidakovic. Starting to see both goalkeepers getting tested a little more now as we edge towards the 15-minute mark in this one. Harrison Busnell coming forward. Woon Sub-Sim. Incredible career that Woon Sub-Sim has had. He's played, well, pretty much everywhere. The midfielder, he was at Shell Harbour last year, down here in the Illawarra Premier League, and was picked up by the Wolves. But he's played in Myanmar, Hong Kong, Armenia, Taiwan, South Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia as well. I mean, that's certainly a well-travelled player, as he clips one over for Nicholas Olsen and sends a volley over, but it took a deflection on the way. It's a corner. It's been interesting to see how the new coach at the Wolves, Warren Grieve, has actually brought in a number of players from our local league. I say our, I live down here in Wollongong, so a few recognisable faces this year from our local competition. As a corner, it's punched away by Vidakovic. Here's Mascivecchio. Knocked in now for Raphael Leai. Here's Olsen, and he's got a bit of space on the edge of the box. He might think about having a shot. Look to clip it towards that back post. No one really making that run. And it looks as if we will have some sort of a stoppage here. It's probably a drinks break, considering the heat we're experiencing. So just a quick recap of where we're at in this game. The Wolves 1-0 up, a really early goal from Alex Mascivecchio, continuing his excellent form this season. Another early goal for him, and it was a simple breakaway through midfield in the end for the Wolves. A good ball from Olsen that was well timed for Mascivecchio, who took his time and rolled a nice finish past Western Sydney's goalkeeper Vidakovic. Western Sydney have probably had, well, up until a few minutes ago, most of the attacking play, and the Wolves in the last few minutes have had a few good shots. Lachlan Scott had one saved. Raphael Leai, who had a curling effort from range that was also held on to by Vidakovic. Ben Geisen working hard. Lachlan Scott was tackled by Adelato. Here's Abdul Rahman. There's a good ball out for Jesse Cameron. Great tracking back from Raphael Leai. Another set piece for the Wanderers. They've had a few of these. Plenty of players around goalkeeper Oliver Yates, and it's short of the near post, which allows Lachlan Scott to clear that away. Badalato's pass is intercepted, and Scott can try to keep a hold of the ball, but it's given away. Fortunate for the Wolves captain, really, and an offside against Luka Knezovic. Yates looks set to knock this ball long. Good header from Tilt. Win sub sim will find Raphael Liai, and Agnostopoulos under pressure can knock it back to Kanaizumi, and that's some neat footwork from the experienced centre back, and rolls one into Nick Olsen, and the Wolves can move forwards here. Important tackle, and that was a good passage of play from the Wolves, but well defended by the Wanderers. Didn't get any further than through midfield. Como lifts one over the top and can't quite find the ball there, could Julian Kopp. One will go out for a goal kick. Not had the highest tempo this game, which is of course understandable given the conditions that they're playing in, and that's not a great ball at all. Here's Olsen. Well tackled by Kopp though. Abdul Rahman looked to flick that on for Knezovic all the while, but neither picks it up, and Yates will lob the ball forward, and Como should deal with this. Takes it away from Masciavecchio. Here's Luau, who will need to hold this up. That's a good ball into Cade Bacchus, and a lovely turn and distribution as well to find Knezovic on the right hand side. He takes on Dylan Ryan, goes round Ryan. It's an excellent move. Rattles the post. That was super play from the Wanderers. And they've still got the ball. It's a clever run from Cameron. It will be flagged offside, but that was really nice from the Wanderers. Some good play from all involved, particularly Cade Bacchus, who did well to turn out and lift one into a good area for Knezovic, who ended up rattling the near post after he breezed past Dylan Ryan on that left side for the Wolves. Vidakovic will play it to Tilt. Lachlan Scott will pick up that Kanaizumi pass, and he'll need to hold on to it because this is a good area for the Wanderers. Kopp back out to Badalato. Here's Cade Bacchus. Knocked in for Badalato, and those two in midfield particularly have been really tidy in these early stages. Bacchus and Badalato continuing to play it to each other. A touch of a loose one there, but Bacchus will keep the ball and clip one over for Nkomo to chase. And it's a misplaced header, Abdul Rahman. And that's a close one. It's an awkward one from Busnell as he's slid in, hasn't really touched much of the ball at all, and the question was whether Abdul Rahman was going to get to that. It didn't look like it, but it could have been a bad moment for Wollongong. But here's Dylan Ryan down the left. Back for Raphael Leai and Lachlan Scott deeper in midfield. Here's Olsen. We're in sub-sim, and Ben Geison's got a bit of space if he can find him, but looks to have come and gone that move down the right, and Kanaizumi to pick it up. James Anagnostopoulos. Plays it back to Kanaizumi. There is a touch of space if they can find Ben Geison on this right-hand side, and they'll move it now. Here's Busnell, and he'll find Geison, and there is plenty of space for him to drive into, and the Wolves have 4 up here. Plays it to Mashu Vecchio, who's in the box. Cade Bacchus with an important tackle, and it'll be a Wolves set piece. The ball straight in and missed. Nkomo to take it away. Julian Kopp has been caught up to by Ben Geison. Here's Badalato in midfield, who's probably had the most touches on the ball in this game in midfield. Cade Bacchus as well would be up there. Here's Lual. Good tackle from Scott, and there's a chance if he can find Raphael Leai, who's one-on-one with Vidakovic, and rolls it in the corner. Super goal. And the acrobatics to go with the celebration as well. And that's his first of the year. His first for the Wollongong Wolves as well. And again, a simple move really to construct the goal. A giveaway in midfield from the Wanderers. One clever pass from Scott unlocked the defence, and it was another neat finish. Similar to the Mashu Vecchio one, that exploiting a similar space. And the Wolves have 2. As we get towards the half-hour mark in this one, they may not have had much of the ball, but they've taken the chances they've had. Well, can the Wanderers respond? They've created plenty of chances and they've shown some promise, but 2-0 down at the moment. Here's Dylan Ryan, a misplaced pass. As the Wanderers knock it around the back, and if you are a regular viewer of the Wolf chase that the Wollongong Wolves do down here, which we'll come back to, as there's a bit of space for Knezovic as he mazes around one tackle. That's a good ball for Abdul Rahman. Just enough on it from Yates, and a good kick away there from Dylan Ryan, but there's another moment of transition for the Wolves, but Lachlan Tilt will pick that up and keep it in for the Wanderers, and as I was saying before, there will be no wolf chase, which we usually see at Wollongong Wolves home matches. Well, it's a bit too hot, which the players can see. Of course, the wolf does run in that very furry suit, which on a day like today wouldn't be particularly pleasant. And that'll perhaps come through for Lachlan Scott, but cleared away by Tilt, who's seen plenty of the ball at centre back. Geisen will knock it back to Busnell. Here's Mascivecchio. Hasn't had too many touches, Mascivecchio, since his goal, but here's a chance for him to break forwards potentially. And Como. And here's Mascivecchio. Olsen's making a good run, as is Scott, and Olsen. Oh, and he's been flagged offside. It's a good save, regardless of the flag. But another giveaway from the Wanderers, and within 2 passes, the Wolves racing in on goal. Anthony Barbich on the ball. Knocked down this right-hand side. Jesse Cameron, the willing runner. Good ball for Knezovic, and Agnostopoulos does well to intercept it, and here's Liai racing through. Mascivecchio knocked wide for Ben Geisen. Here's Busnell, and it's an intercepted pass. Not a great ball at all, as Abdul Rahman picks it up. Ball if he can find Knezovic, or he may just shoot himself. Excellent effort and a good save from Yates. Kanaizumi will need to clear that. Small collision there, but we always thought it was going to be difficult for Liai to hold on to that ball. Is Cade Bacchus off to the forwards. Here's Cade Bacchus, who will get the ball back. Knocked in for Tilt, who can advance into some space. Knocks it wide for Knezovic. Tilt again. Jesse Cameron on the right. An awkward ball, but a good claim from Ollie Yates. James and Agnostopoulos with some neat footwork and a great ball straight into Lachlan Scott. It's a lofted ball forwards. Nick Olsen will be onto this. Como does well. Here's Scott. Good interception from Tilt there, who's been probably the most defensively involved at the back for the Wanderers. Also been doing a lot of the ball playing. Ben Geisen's got some space. Good ball back for Scott. Here's Nick Olsen. Liai's running outside. Olsen goes for the shot. Nicholas Olsen's another one who's had a really interesting career, playing in Vietnam, Kuwait, the Maldives I saw as well, in addition to some clubs here in Australia. And he's been so important for the Wolves. He's brought a real cutting edge to their attack, as Yates will deal with that ball over the top. 4 goals in 5 games so far for him. Really replacing the role that Jake True played in this team. Totally different players. Olsen, a much more technically based player, and not someone who'll necessarily hold the ball up for you, but someone who's got that
quality to pick the ball up in neat areas and get your team moving. As we see what I think is another drinks break. 33 minutes here. The Wolves 2-0 up. Alex Mascivecchio with the first. And then not too long ago, it was Rafael Leai who picked up his first goal in Wolves colours. The Wanderers, they've had plenty of the ball and they've played some good stuff as well. They've had some chances. Luka Knežević struck the post, and they've had another couple of other good chances, but still yet to score. And the Wolves have been patient. They haven't pressed the Wanderers relentlessly in terms of their backline, but waited for them to get through into those midfield areas and have picked them off from there. And in both examples, it was a simple pass through, and that opened up the chance. Restart with Ollie Yates. Probably a long ball forward, it looks like, to get us back underway after our second drinks break of the game. Towards Lachlan Scott. Good header away by Barbic, and Mascivecchio will pick it up now. Neat turn. Finds an Agnostopoulos. Here's Dylan Ryan. Rafael Leai finds Dylan Ryan. Scott. Could be a chance for a shot here from Scott. It's a clever ball for Dylan Ryan. Good header away by Barbic. Here's Leai. Shifted away by Nkomo. Here's Ben Geisen now, who's had a lot of involvement down the right-hand side for the Wolves. And here's a ball out for Knežević. Touch takes him a little wide. Goes round Kanaizumi and draws a good save from Ollie Yates. He's been the most lively of the attackers for the Wanderers. He's picked up some good space, and both times he's almost effortlessly gone round whoever the defender may be for the Wolves. In the first instance where he hit the post, it was Ryan, and then that one there, a good save. Banri Kanaizumi was taken out of position. Another corner for Western Sydney. Mascivecchio will clear it, and Olsen takes it forward. And he couldn't hold on to that. An important interception by Cade Bacchus, because Rafael Leai was almost going to be straight through on goal as Knežević picks it up again. It's a shot from Barbic that's deflected away for another corner. away by Dylan Ryan at the near post, and Como heads it forward. Bartolato to pick it up. Knocked back to Cade Bacchus. Jesse Cameron moves the ball across to the right. In first time in the while. Well, it was a good chance that he failed to make sufficient contact with it. Julian Kopp with that ball in, and a good interception from him as well, as he's now operating more off this right hand side, or at least has been in the last couple of minutes. Picks it up again here. Clever ball, but offside given. Six minutes of regular time to play in this first half. The Wolves in a strong position and have generally defended quite well, apart from not being able to stop Luka Knezovic down the right hand side. Scott holds it up, wins sub-sim with a pass at deflection to Bacchus, and then Busnell knocks it forward. Vidakovic will have to clear that away. Geisen picks it up, and deflection to sub-sim, and now they can continue to play out here, the Wolves, out of the back. Oliver Yates will distribute with his left foot. It's a bit flat, but important interception from Leai, and James Anagnostopoulos with a neat piece of play to keep hold of that, keep it moving. And he'll pick it up again here. Knocks it to Busnell, and that was some excellent play from the young midfielder who was a junior at the Wolves and came into the local competition here in the Illawarra, played a little bit at Port Kembla, and also then moved to Coniston over the last couple of years, where he continued to develop. He's certainly not the biggest player, but his technical ability, his awareness as well, and he's very good at just keeping the ball, which is a valuable skill, particularly at this level. So another example there of Warren Grieve looking to younger players, an ex-Wolves junior and someone out of the local league, and he hasn't looked out of place in his first few games. Lofted forwards by Ryan for Nick Olsen with another one of these clever runs into the channel. It's well to hold on to it, and it's a strong tackle, but he'll win the free kick off Anthony Barbic. Olsen looks set to take this set piece. Ken Izumi in there. So is Scott. Dylan Ryan as well. They play it short for Leai. We'll have a shot, and it's a good hit. Well struck. Wide of the near post. Long by Vidakovic. Knezovic, good header. A late challenge from Abdul Rahman. Kanazumi went to clear the ball there, and it was just a late tackle from Abdul Rahman. A bit unnecessary, given he was never going to get there. Warren Grieve audibly unhappy on the touchline after that tackle. Flip towards Ryan. Lachlan Scott will endeavour to hold it up. Kanaizumi finds Busnell. It's Woon sub-sim. Busnell. Now we can play a ball for Ben Geisen. It's a good ball. Leai's forward. Geisen chops it inside. Scott holds onto the ball and finds Raphael Leai. It'll come through to Olsen. A tricky one to control. James Anagnostopoulos with the touch forward, but straight to Vidakovic. Final minute of regular time. We'll wait and see how much added time there is. A couple of 1 minute drinks breaks. The Scots, that's some neat footwork, and that was almost a nice ball over the top for Leai. He's been effective today, Lachlan Scott. In perhaps a couple of the other matches we haven't seen as much from him, but particularly his hold-up play has been really valuable to the Wolves. As Awan Lual looks to do the same is Knezovic. Knocked out now to Jesse Cameron. Well, I think there's going to be 4 minutes of added time here. So certainly enough time for the Wanderers to get themselves back into the game. Heading into the sheds. Tilt rolls it out to the right. Badalato picks it up. Barbic, that was a poor ball, and well, he's lost it. Here's Leai. They're streaming forwards. Plenty of speed from Raphael Leai, and pokes it in. He's got a brace. And just as I was saying, there's time to get back into it for the Wanderers. They've conceded a third goal. And it's been a similar story for Western Sydney with all three of the goals they've conceded. But the pace on show there from Leai. The work between Scott and Olsen as well. They've looked really good up front. They've been efficient today, and they're in a strong position to take another 3 points in their second win of the year. Still plenty of football to play though, and the Wanderers have shown promise. Flipped in towards Knezovic. Good tackle from Ben Geisen. Lachlan Scott holds on to it well again. Here's an Anagnostopoulos who'll move it out for Olsen. Could there be more for the Wolves? And Como does well to head that away from the danger, with Masciavecchio lurking. And Anagnostopoulos finds Dylan Ryan. They'll look to see out now this lead as they go into half time, and again clever play from Anagnostopoulos. Comes Busnell. Flipping it forward towards Scott. Wins his header. Raphael Leai through for Lachlan Scott. Jesse Cameron gets back in and does perhaps enough. Olsen by the byline. Cleared away. Bacchus finds Knezovic, and there's perhaps a chance for some transition here as a ball's lofted forwards, but doesn't look like it's going to find anybody. Ben Geisen will hold on to the ball. Wins sub-sim. Masciavecchio. Neat turn and a nice nutmeg. Geisen. Lei. Looked for Masciavecchio but intercepted. Here's Battolato now for the Wanderers. Jesse Cameron again. Out on the right. Clips it forward, but Oliver Yates does well to claim that. Only a few seconds left in this first half. Yates looking for some sort of movement, and Lachlan Scott was the target. Didn't quite reach him. Nicholas Olsen, there's a ball here he could play. Finds Scott. Holds on to it, Lachlan Scott. And that's half time. The Wolves are 3-0 up as they head into the sheds against Western Sydney Wanderers. We'll be back for the second half to see if there's any chance of the visitors getting back into the game. Well, hello and welcome back to Macedonia Park for the second half as Wollongong Wolves lead 3-0 against Western Sydney Wanderers. Looks as if there's been a change for Western Sydney. Dello Sandy looks as if he's coming up front in place of Awan Lual. Good ball forward, and Busnell will win a goal kick out of that. Off Julian Kopp. A really efficient first half from the Wolves. They went 1-0 in front within the first couple of minutes, courtesy of Alex Mascivecchio, and then Rafael Leai added 2 more, and they did well in the way that they moved the ball, particularly winning it in good positions, and within a couple of passes they were creating chances. And here's some more space for Rafael Leai to exploit. Jesse Cameron sprinting back, and the ball's just behind Nick Olsen. Dylan Ryan knocks it forwards. Olsen will pick it up. Leai making a good run forward. Jesse Cameron does well to knock it away for a corner. Jesse Cameron, of course, featuring a little bit in the A-League men's competition. He's played a couple of times the fullback. It's been here 3 years, at least in the senior setup at the Wanderers. And has been an important asset for them at the back as the corner goes in, and Harrison Busnell was free. Went over, I think it was Scott, and Busnell with a chance, but the header was straight at Tristan Vidakovic. There's Dello Sandy. A couple of other options on the bench for the Wanderers. One of those is Saxon Hillier, who formerly of Manly United, where he broke into that first grade setup, and he's been given the opportunity at the Wanderers Academy. He could be someone who could potentially change the game, but you would think anything would need to be an early goal from Western Sydney. Here's Dalu Sandy who picks it up. Badalato. Flipped in towards Knezovic, and good save from Yates. That was nice play from the Wanderers, and it's worth mentioning at this point that the Wolves have coughed up leads in their last 2 games. And it's both been late goals that have undone the Wolves. They were 2-0 up at one stage against Central Coast at Wynn Stadium, and then right in stoppage time they conceded. And just last week against Rockdale, the 88th minute goal came and the points were shared. Nkomo looks set to take this corner. In swinging delivery. Again, many bodies around Oliver Yates. Ooh, not quite cleared away from Dylan Ryan. Lusandi got a header in there, and it'll be a goal kick. And Subsim will find Nick Olsen, and Lachlan Scott's over the top. Couldn't quite get the touch as Knezovic picks it up. Dylan Ryan does well. Find Masciavecchio. Out wide for James Anagnostopoulos. Inside for Masciavecchio. Given away, and here's a chance to move forwards as Dalusandi finds Luka Knezovic. Crucial block that from Woon Subsim. And it's a free kick. You think Abdul Rahman's getting pretty close to a final warning. He's made a few fouls in this game. I'd suggest the next one may be a yellow card. Is Busnell. Oliver Yates. Dylan Ryan will look to flick this forward for Lachlan Scott, and it was a good header. Scott had made the run the other direction though. Neat turn from Badalato. Good header away from Geisen, and here comes Nkomo. And it's an indirect free kick against him. Knocked forward. Ben Geisen will pick it up. Pulled back, but they'll keep going. Scott to Olsen. Low shot, well saved. Badalato, he's lost out there, and Scott can come forward. Scott through for Olsen, and was he being held back? Perhaps a touch, but not enough for the referee to award a penalty, and that's just a straight kick in the back of the ankles, to be honest. And has Dylan Ryan left a little bit on Knezovic there? Well, he just straight up kicked him in the back of the legs, it looked like. Knezovic on Ryan, and perhaps Ryan left something there. Bit of bite and a bit of heat to the start of this game. Start of this half, rather. Jesse Cameron, and can't be kept in. Dalusandi, who's noticeably dropping a lot deeper than what Awan Lawal was in that first half. Lawal was much more on that last shoulder of the last defender's shoulder, whereas seeing Sandy pick it up in deeper areas and try and get touches that way. Masciavecchio gets the touch away from Jesse Cameron, wins the free kick. Will be interesting to see how Warren Grieve approaches his substitutes today, because they do have a couple of plays out the Wolves, and they don't have the deepest of squads either. So managing those minutes, particularly on a hot day like this, could become important. Has Marcus Beattie on there. He's the most experienced option. He's played at right back mainly since he returned to the Wolves, but can also play as a winger, a right midfielder, and was very effective for Luke Wilkshire when he was in charge of the Wolves. And that's a lovely flick for Scott. Here's Raphael Leai. Here's Nick Olsen. 4. It's 4-0. And the Wolves have been devastating in transition. Lachlan Scott with another important piece of play. A lovely flick to get Leai in. It's a good save initially, but the ball's rolled out to Olsen and he's got plenty of space. And all he has to do is keep it low and score, which he did well. And he continues his excellent start to life. There appears to be some sort of a complaint going on the Wanderers bench. I'm not really sure what it's about, and well, the result of that is a caution. What I presume is for dissent. And I see a player holding his leg saying, "I've been hit." That was, I think, Nicholas Badalato rather, who picked up the caution for what looked like dissent. Here's Kay Bacchus. Can the Wolves hold on to keep their 4-goal buffer, or can the Wanderers find an early goal to pick up some momentum? Here's Dalu Sandi. And it's another giveaway, and that's a deliberate foul. You'd think that might have been a caution there, but not given, as Olsen clips one over for Scott. Leai just trips over the ball and just lofted over there. I think it's important to point out how important Scott has been today, is the way he's held the ball up and has been a real point of reference for the Wolves when they go forward. He's held on to pretty much everything that's come his way, and that last goal, I think, really highlighted his role in the game today. A neat flick that opened up the goal. Perhaps not scoring as many so far this year, Scott, but this has got to be up there with one of his better performances so far, and highlights a different role that he can play in this team, particularly when he has people who are willing to run around him, the likes of Leai, Masciavecchio, Nick Olsen as well, as he tries to hold on to this. Can't quite on this occasion. It looks as if the Wanderers are looking to try and pick up the pace a little bit here. Of course, 4-0 down, but a touch more direct play coming from them now. Here's Knezovic. Almost beats Busnell. Looked as if he was dragged back there, Busnell, but not given. Play stopped here. I'm not sure why. I don't think the ball was in the arc or on the arc, so it'll be retaken. This time the ball will go straight into the box, and it was deep and more of a shot than any sort of cross. The Wanderers still trying to surround Ollie Yates, the Wolves goalkeeper. He's been handed the first grade gloves this year, and he's done quite well. He's been good today with a number of saves, and his distribution's been alright as well. As we see, another lovely floated ball there, and Gets the Wolves escaping down the right with Ben Geisen. Now it's the Wanderers' turn to transition, and Abdul Rahman's beaten the offside trap. One-on-one with Oliver Yates. He's gone round him, but he was sent too far wide, and in the end the offside is given, or is it a goal kick? It's tough to tell, but we'll have another drinks break. The Wolves 4-0 up. As we're just through the hour mark of this game. That was a good chance there, probably one of the Wanderers' best. Abdul Rahman racing in on goal, but couldn't sort his feet out. Went round the goalkeeper, but went too far around and got caught on the byline where it eventually went out. But as I was saying with Oliver Yates, he's been handed the first grade gig this year. He was deputising for veteran Janjetovic, another ex-Wanderers player, last season, and I spoke to him after the Central Coast game, that is Yates, and he said he learnt a lot from Janjetovic in his time with him at the club, and yeah, he's hopeful of holding on to that first grade starting spot for the rest of the year, and he hasn't done himself any harm in what he's done in these first 6 games for the club. Has actually played some first grade before this over in Germany, so he's not new to first grade by any means, but this is his first time being given the responsibility here at the Wolves. Played mostly with the under-20s last year. Waiting to see if we'll get any subs from the Wolves, or the Wanderers for that matter. Looks like a bib is coming off over there for Western Sydney. Akol Akon looks as if he's getting ready to come on to try and make some sort of an impact in what's left of this game. Oliver Yates with a nice turn and scuffs it a little bit, but Dylan Ryan will get there. Back to Kanaizumi, and just gets too far over the ball and drags it out for a throw-in as Cade Bacchus moves the ball on, but Liai's intercepted that. And Scott might get here. A chance down the left side. It's a good ball, well intercepted by Kanaizumi. Julian Koppy's had his moments, particularly down the left, but also some good deliveries from the right as well, now I think about it. So he's been somewhat effective in this game, but lacking that cutting edge of goal scoring chances, really, the Wanderers. That latest one from Abdul Rahman was probably the best chance they've had. Dylan Ryan clears away. Raphael Liai to use his pace round Nkomo, but he's certainly not slow either. Knezovic. Tried to play that through there, Julian Kopp. Couldn't quite find the ball through in a central position. Knocked forwards, and Lachlan Tilt stayed up. Knocked over the top by Kanaizumi, and it'll be another corner. Three changes being prepared for the Wanderers, and Marcus Beattie looks like he's going to come on for the Wolves. I think I saw Johnny Pavlovich for the Wanderers, and we already know Akon is coming on as well for Western Sydney. So they're two of the changes set to be introduced. Sub-Sim hooks it away and Scott's got a pocket of space. Olsen's running. Goes the other way. Machiavecchio finds Liai. Wanderers still getting numbers back. Ball, good header away from Cade Bacchus. In Sub-Sim, that's sensational play. And Liai's left it behind Geisen. Kinezovic can escape down the left. Kanaizumi will get to the ball. And lovely turn from Ben Geisen. His wound, Sub-Sim. Busnell. A lofted one for Liai, who's held on to that. Here's Machiavecchio. Olsen. Scott's on the edge if he can be found, and he's sent that half volley. He's been unlucky today, Lachlan Scott. It seems everything's falling to his left foot rather than his preferred right. And here are the subs. Cade Bacchus set to come off, and Saxon Hillier will replace him. Also looks like Kinezovic is coming off as well, as is Anthony Barbic. On, as we mentioned, is Johnny Pavlovic and Akol Akon, who's gone off to that wing, and for the Wolves it's Machiavecchio who comes off, and Marcus Beattie will come on to this left-hand side, it looks like, so coming on a bit further up than where he's played mostly for the Wolves. Kanaizumi will deal with that. Lusandi cleared away by Kanaizumi, importantly. Beattie can't get it through as Akolakon gets his first touches of the game. Badalato, Abdul Rahman, Sandy looked to try and volley that towards goal, but it's bounced wide. So Luka Kinezovic comes off for the Wanderers, has been somewhat effective in that first half, particularly with his willingness to take players on, and had some joy, hit the post. Anthony Barbic coming off as well. Looks as if the Wanderers have gone to a 3 at the back system now. And looks as if he's accidentally hit him there. Julian Kopp might have just struck Ryan on the way down. Still down here, Dylan Ryan, as the physio makes his way over. Well, they do have Marcus Beattie on the field now, the Wolves, so they could take Dylan Ryan off here and shuffle that back line around a little bit. Dax Kelly's another defender they have on the bench. Yeah, he looks like he copped a hit to the face, to the nose, and they will need to make that change, the Wolves. I suspect it will be Dax Kelly, and there'll be some sort of a reshuffle in the back line. No need to take the risk really with Dylan Ryan in a comfortable position. He's been good today, Dylan Ryan. He's solid as ever defensively and has won a fair share of his duels, particularly clearing those near post corners. I've seen a few of those that he's knocked away well. Looks as if it will be Dax Kelly set to come on. Mainly a centre back. So Ben Geisen will come across this left hand side potentially. And Dax Kelly will slot in at right back on his stronger right foot. So it is a three at the back system now for the Wanderers as they look to get back into the game if they can, given they do have a large deficit in this one. Jesse Cameron, part of that back three. Tilt in the middle. And Nkomo on the left side. Julian Kopp on the right. Akon, who will play from that left-hand side. And then that leaves a bit more space in attack, potentially. Marcus Beattie wins that. He's kept his place on the left-hand side. Woon Sub Sim has found Scott in some space. But couldn't get there first, and it'll be a Wanderers throw in. Dalusandi, who's now a bit deeper. A strong tackle there from Jesse Cameron. Johnny Pavlovich is now the main striker for the Wanderers, and Abdul Rahman will sit a little bit in behind, who's, if nothing, been a bit of a pest to those Wolves defenders. He's perhaps fortunate not to be on a caution at this stage, but he's kept the Wolves defenders thinking. Switch by Tilt towards Julian Kopp. Shanked clearance, and there's some space if Olsen can find Leai. We'll play Dax Kelly in. Leai should get onto that. Throw into the Wolves on the far side. Probably got around 20 minutes left in this one in consideration of any additional time we may see. As Busnell wins that header off the long throw-in. Scott chasing back, can't quite get there. Here's Delusandi, one-on-one with Geisen, who does well to hold him up. Here's Pavlovic, and Badalato trips on the ball, and Agnostopoulos plays it forwards, and there's a couple of passes they could pick here. Scott, beautiful ball over the top for Rafael Liai, who's on a hat-trick. Plays it to Olsen, one more. Is Marcus Beattie, and Scott with a shot. Top save from Vidakovic. It was quite near him, but to react as quickly as he did was impressive. Here's Beattie. To wriggle his way in between a couple of challenges, but couldn't quite get there. Kanaizumi finds Ben Geisten, who knocks it back into Oliver Yates. Is Badalato. A mile for Nkomo. Dalusandi, who's in midfield, and Julian Kopp on the right wing. He's been good as well today, Ben Geisen. He's won everything, as Lachlan Scott has got away from Jesse Cameron, and Cameron's pulled him back. It's a yellow card, and Scott will get it moving quickly. Here's Nick Olsen. Gives Scott something to chase, one-on-one with Jesse Cameron again. He tries the roulette, but couldn't get around him. It's another drinks break here as the Wolves sit 4-0 up. It'll be a good win for them, the Wolves. Second win of the year, still unbeaten after 6 games. It sees them shoot back into those finals places after the rest of the competition, or most of the competition, played yesterday. Game this morning as well. So it puts them in a good position, this win, and it was a necessary one after what was a run of, I think, 3 draws. And including a couple of ones where they gave up late leads. You'd hope, if you're a Wolves fan, that you'd be able to hold on for what's left of this one. So we head into the final 10 regular minutes. Temperature here at Macedonia Park has cooled right off now, and there's a cool breeze, which is nice, and I'm sure the players will appreciate that. They are missing a couple of players today, Western Sydney, particularly in defence. No Nathan Barry or Ricky Franson either. A couple of important defenders for them that they don't have, and perhaps if they did have them, they wouldn't have been cut through as easily as they have been at times this afternoon. Kanaizumi gets his head on the ball again. Olsen. A few more fouls now. You can tell that this Wanderers team are a touch tired. They still do have some options on the bench, Western Sydney, if they want to make them. I think one sub left that they can bring on, so might help them get through this game. Here's Busnell for the Wolves. Really came into his own last year, Harrison Busnell, and started to play more consistently as Saxon Hillier picks it up for Western Sydney. Cleared away. But with Harrison Busnell, he's had a rather injury-ravaged 2023 season, but in 2024 under David Carney, he was an ever-present back there and has developed, particularly in his ball playing, but also the way he covers, and has formed a solid partnership with Bannery Kanaizumi. Still only 21 years of age as well, Harrison Busnell, so plenty of football left to play in his career. You'd expect at some point Damon Gray might get on the field for the Wolves. As they also have 3 substitutes they can make, but I think just the one window that they can do that in. So they'd have to be a flurry of them as it's a shot that comes through. It's blazed over the bar by Akon. Here comes Kanaizumi. Scott, clever flick for Marcus Beattie. Played out to Akon. Loose Andy's running ahead of him, as is Abdul Rahman. Looks to get the touch ahead of him, and he kept going, Akon, and it'll be a corner. Shouts for a penalty, but not given. On the other hand, for the Wanderers, this is another disappointing result, but one where they have played good football at times, and particularly with young players, which this team are, that's a promising sign. And they'll hope they can start to score a few more goals though. Here's Julian Kopp. Cut back in, good dummy, Abdul Rahman. Doesn't hit his shot correctly, mistimed and bounced past the post. Will be that final change for Western Sydney. And Como set to come off. And on in his place is going to be Thomas Katuk. Got through a lot of running today. Has Meliwethu and Como. Defended well at times, and particularly in recovery, but all of the Wolves' goals have come down that left-hand side in the transition as well. Scott wants to try and keep it neat in midfield, but couldn't quite. Johnny Pavlovich getting involved, as is now Nicholas Badalotto. Jesse Cameron will hold on to it. Here's Akon and Saxon Hillier now. Lachlan Till launches a ball forward, and it's a problematic one, but Harrison Busnell's gotten across and will clear it away. Back to Vidakovic. Very direct now, Western Sydney, looking to loft balls into those wide areas consistently. It'll be a throw-in though. Julian Kopp, neat footwork. Lachlan Scott dropping deep and picking up space. Here's Leai down the right. Scott going to make that overlapping run, but isn't found. Here's Moon sub-sim back to Busnell. That is one area for the Wolves where they are a little light, is in that midfield. In terms of numbers at least, it's mainly James Anagnostopoulos and Woon sub-sim, but apart from that, I don't really have any other players who would sit in that deep midfield. I think Ben Geiston's done a little bit of stuff there, but other than that, they don't have a great deal of options in those positions. Of course, we lost Chris McStay and also Sam Riak in the off-season. Nick Olsen looks to drill that in towards the near post for Busnell, but it's just wide of the far post in the end. Couple of minutes of regulation time left as the Wolves look set to see out their second win of the season. As for the Wanderers, though, it's extending their winless run. They'll need to start picking up results as the rest of the competition starts to pull away from them in that battle to avoid those relegation places. As the balls roll back to Saxon Hillier, who's drilled one well over the top of the bar. Bit of a short ball from Oliver Yates, and it's a chance here for Julian Kopp. Good defending from Ken Izumi. A rare poor kick from Oliver Yates, but it's been swept up by Ken Izumi. Here's Marcus Beattie. Here's Busnell. Out towards Dax Kelly. He's getting what might be his first minutes of the year. And he's gotten away with perhaps a touch of a push on the left wing back there for the Wanderers. Akol Akon. As Dax Kelly looks to roll it forwards. A few lazy challenges going in here with not too long to go, and it will be offside. About to see the board here. A couple of minutes for the drinks breaks, plus an injury to Dylan Ryan. It took a few minutes as well. Could be 5 or 6 minutes left in this one, but wait to see whether the scoreline is taken into account in terms of the result pretty much being certain here. Good interception from Raphael Leai, who's had a little bit of injury trouble in the last couple of games, but he's been out there and he's been very good today, particularly with no Sebastian Hernandez. Who's out at the moment. Julian Kopp does well to get past Ben Geisenberg. Geisen gets back in. Kopp plays it forward for Elisandi. Busnell's chasing and gives him a good shove and gets the goal kick. Raphael Leai is down over there. I'm not not sure. As we get 5 minutes of additional time here, which by my watch we were already a couple of minutes into, so I'm not sure if that means 3 minutes from here or 5. We'll see, but you'd think to take off Lei might be the right thing to do. Or he looks set to come back on. There's Kanaizumi for Marcus Beattie. Nick Olsen will pick it up. Lei has got a bit of space and it's clipped over the top for Scott. Shifts it inside. Goes on the outside, still twisting. Well tackled in the end. Abdul Rahman pushes forward to take on Winsub Sim for pace. And he's still got it here, still battling. It was a combative run from him, but he's been unable to get a shot off, and Winsub Sim is down for the Wolves, and they will make a few changes, it looks like. With not too many minutes left, he's emptying his bench pretty much. Warren Grieve. Looks like Damon Gray will be one of them, and potentially Liam Ball is the other. Raphael Lei and Damon Gray coming on. Lei, good shift, a brace, and some really important actions in what he contributed to an attack. And the other change is Lucas Trachevsky for Lachlan Scott, who has been the focal point for the Wolves, and while he's not scored, he's been such an important provider. And the other change is Winsub Sim, who's come off with that knock. Liam Ball is coming into midfield. Damon Gray, of course, will go in attack, along with Lucas Trachevsky. Damon Gray out on the right wing, Trachevsky playing through the middle, and Liam Ball next to James and Agnostopoulos in midfield. Kanaizumi heads away. Here's Trachevsky over the top for Damon Gray. Trachevsky is bombing on here, and it's a good touch from Liam Ball. Finds Olsen. Has a shot, and that was a fierce effort that swerved back, which seemed unlikely from the angle, but that was a lovely strike from Olsen, who's played well in that Wolves front line. His capacity to get on the ball consistently is a real asset. You'd think only seconds to go in this one. As Saxon Hillier holds onto it. Badalato looks to play it through, but that'll roll away for a throw-in. Corner ball for Western Sydney. Lasso set to take it. Instead, it will be Ekon. And it falls short of the near post. And that's it. Full time here at Macedonia Park. The Wolves come out 4-0 winners. It was Alex Mashivecchio who scored within the first couple of minutes, and then Raphael Liai added a brace throughout the rest of the first half. Nick Olsen picked up the Wolves' fourth in the second half as that rounded out a super win here, their second win of the year, and pushes them back up in to those finals places. I've been Tim Gibson. Thank you for tuning in.